Hi guys, so here we go with the video with the final product essentially. This is the final video from when the subdivision was completed, and titles were issued, and we actually met our deadline, and the owner didn't get hit up on any variations with Dale, so the project was a huge success. In the sense that we achieved our timelines, and the conditions were difficult. The site conditions were difficult, um, and it really took some careful planning, and us and our team, our concreter and our building designer and our earthworks guy, we work together on all our projects, really putting our heads together and working together, to kind of come up with solutions. The biggest complications we had were making the driveway work. When I say make the driveway work, it's not just a matter of whacking down concrete and just the she'll be right approach. Everything's got to be flowing the right way. Water, has got to run off the driveway in the right directions towards soak wells. Things have got to be retained in the right way. It's all got to get connected together, and careful project planning is the only way you can do that. Now the thing is before I hit start on this video, it's very important that you realize that it doesn't make a difference how many of these videos you would watch. I'm going to make a number of these videos, but it doesn't make a difference how many of them you watch. You are still going to need to work in with a land surveyor, and get advice, because it's all about what level of work you need to do, and the people with experience are the land surveyors like us that are dealing with these projects over and over and over again. So we're just working closely with your surveyor, and fall back on their experience, and hopefully their good advice, in what you need to do and how you need to do it. But inevitably, if you become the project manager, you've got to tie it all together. The how the earthworks happens, how the concrete happens, how the services get run in, the electricity, the water, the sewer, how they all get run into the different blocks. And then the big thing is the order in which you do them. How do you do these things that it's done efficiently, without mistake, where something doesn't get done and need to be redone a second time? You've got to plan it very carefully, and that's why I say, no matter how many of these videos you watch, you will need to work in with a surveyor or an expert on this, because if you haven't done it before, doing it on your own, it can be risky, especially on a project like this. So just keep that in mind, and hopefully this information will help you out. And yeah, let's get stuck into watching this video. I think you'll find it quite satisfying watching this video, having watched the one previous, when you see the side look like just a wreck, like a bomb hit it, and to see this final product, and this is it when it's done to perfection. It's everything is carefully planned, and there's no stones left unturned. This is what it should look like at the end. So here's the driveway. We start right at the road, pouring the driveway and a new concrete crossover. I'll just pause it over here. Here's the concrete hard stand for the two cars. This area coming out here needed to be retained. We also needed to construct steps here because, my client's father was quite elderly, and we wanted him to be able to come out and obviously get down into this now lowered area. Because remember, this area originally, you came out here and it just was sloping grass from here all the way down to the verge. Now all of a sudden you're stepping down into this flat area. So obviously the project planning involved all of those things. This wasn't even something we thought about at the beginning. We were thinking, let's get this hard stand ready, we know it's going to need to be retained, and then once we started retaining, we were like, hang on, how are we going to get from the hard stand up onto the porch? It might seem like a really, really obvious thing now, but when you're looking at so many different components and of a project, sometimes these little parts of it are things that just come along with it, that you kind of and you just find a solution for it as you go. The critical thing is having a team of people around you who do this thing on a daily basis. Like, we work with a building designer on all our projects, and for all this stuff he helps us look at the specifications for retaining walls, the dimensions for parking. We get him to work out how vehicles are going to maneuver in and out of these spaces, because there are things that can only be done by you know, building designers and, you know, people who understand the building codes and how, you know, as I say, parking works, and, you know, dimensions of parking, and as I say, calculating turning arcs for vehicles. So again, you need to understand these things. You can't, it can't be just that, you know, she'll be right thing, I'll just put some concrete down here in the front area. That's where you make the mistake. You just go out there, you measure 6 meters by 5 meters, you whack down some concrete, and then all of a sudden the Shire arrive, decide to do their inspection, and they're like, this is all wrong. You know, it's not working. The parking is not working how we want it to work within the building code requirements. And then you've got a big problem. You might need to rip it all up and change it, and then start retaining it or re-retaining it or something. So when we're doing a project like this, we plan it from the ground up. We're looking at every single aspect of it. And that's what you should be doing too. You have to be looking at every single thing, how it all ties together. So again, the parking here, it's flowing out into this driveway. Water is running down the driveway into these soak wells. Water also needs to be, the water can't be running down here and running in here and you know, puddling in here. The water's also got to be, you know, sloping and running away from here, so that the water is running away from here down into this soak well as well. So all of these things need to be considered when you're doing this stuff. There's no point in having soak wells out here to catch water runoff if the water is not running to the soak wells. That's when the Shire will come and hit you up for it. And if that driveway is not done properly, the whole driveway will need to come up. Now, you can leave the driveway there. No one's going to stop you leaving the driveway there. But the local government will not give you your clearance letter until it's done right. And that's where the issues are. They will dangle that over you, and they will hold that clearance from you until they are satisfied the work has been done. So you need to do it right, and you need to do it right first time. So we'll just keep going here up the driveway. Again, 3 soak wells we installed here, which we felt was, you know, what we needed to put in to satisfy the drainage on the site. And you probably remember here in the original video, we were coming up through, it was just all sand, and it was just sloping sand from here up to the back of the block. As you can see now, we've had to install these retaining walls, because remember, as we were coming up the driveway, it starts ramping up onto this rear block. So once originally the sand was sloping from here down to here, but now we've raised this land up to here. Okay, so now this is level through here, level through here, level through here. So obviously there's a retaining walls here, and to get to the top of these retaining walls, we need to drive up this ramp. Okay, so driving up this ramp will also require these retaining walls. And if you look over here on the other side of the site, if you remember, that was just all sandy banks through there. We have installed panel and post retaining walls through there, because that's really where the land level in the neighbouring property started to change. It was level through here, and then all of a sudden it started to change level. The level in the neighbour's land was higher. By the time you got over here, it was much higher here, and that was the whole purpose of this retaining wall. This retaining wall was put in to probably offer some kind of support to this retaining wall, but also it was marrying in with the level of the land on the far side that we kind of realized. So these retaining walls needed to come up here and marry in with this, and marry in with the level of the land on the neighbour's side. So just coming across the side here again, I'll just flick through here a little bit, just kind of looking at the site in general. And here we go. Remember this bank over here, the bank with the big question mark over it? As you can see, fully retained now. This was the thing I was saying. We were like, do we wait to the end? What will they say when they come to site? Will they be happy with that? If they're not happy with it, how long is it going to take us to fix that boundary? Is that going to delay the project? Will the owner will the owner end up going out of contract with the builder because the titles haven't been issued? Let's not take the risk. Let's construct the retaining walls now. And that's exactly what we done. So there you go. That's a good view there of all of the retaining. I'll just flick through it again. So just coming back down the driveway from a different direction, you kind of understand how the slopes are working. So you can see here there's quite a big slope down here, then it's kind of straight through there, and then it starts sloping again down once we get to there. there we go again. A bit of a different view showing the retaining on the, you know, in the hard stand area. And over here is the Western Power Dome that got installed, and that was one of the things that we have to do, which we'll be coming back to when we're explaining the processes. And there you can see how these different slopes are working to channel that water down onto the driveway and into this soak well. Really important stuff. That's the stuff that the Shire is looking at. That's the stuff that will catch you out. Just down here as well, I'll show you this now. You've got the Western Power Dome over here, but over here you've got what's called a site main switchboard. So the power is coming in from the grid, from the power lines at the road, and it's coming into this dome. And then there's a cable coming across here under the ground over to here, and then up through that trench into that switchboard, and then that connects through to the houses, and will service the front and the rear block. And on all survey strata subdivisions you are required to have a switchboard. So I think that's a pretty good overview now of the site in its final the final product, I guess. And here's like a council approved crossover here that, you know, obviously connected to that driveway. We needed to get all of this went through council. Everything that you see went through council and got approved. Retaining walls, driveway, drainage, concrete crossover, retaining walls at the back. It all went through council in one go. And we essentially had, you know, one big master plan to work from right across the project. That was the plan that we worked in with all our contractors. And yeah, we had a few challenges at the end making the driveway work. It was not straightforward making the driveway work because of the different slopes as you came down the driveway. It might look simple, but when we were on site working with a very experienced earthwork and concrete contractor, we really had to put our heads together to make it work, because it was not as simple as we originally thought it would be. But in the end, you know, just experience prevailed, and the guys that we were working with are very good, and they were able to put their heads together, and we were able to come up with solutions, and you know, that was the main thing. So that's the video of the final site, and I hope you have learned something from this.